Plan for everything, but you can be ready for anything. That's where we come in. Northwest Insurance Agency covers the wait, what? Moments in life with real coverage, real people, and real fast help. We offer sombrero-style coverage that protects your possessions, your loved ones, and everything else that fits under a sombrero. Call us today for a quote at 855-887-5656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. I'm Billy Embody. Thanks for listening and happy 4th of July to all of you guys out there. If you're listening today, wherever you are, the lake, the beach, the mountains, wherever you celebrate America's birthday, 250 years. Pretty wild. This is the podcast to help get you through it a little bit before we get into next week. We'll have another interview-only episode dropping, and then by maybe Tuesday, definitely Wednesday, we'll be back fully on track. I'll be in a new studio, so really exciting times for me at the On the Pony Express podcast. Appreciate you guys listening to this one. This is going to be a fun one. SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King joining myself, Billy Embody, on the podcast. We appreciate Mark Villasana and Northwest Insurance Agency for all he does for us. 214-352-5656. Give him a call and review your insurance, review your coverage, your rates, and talk a little SMU football. It's getting close now, getting that final run towards fall camp here, just a few weeks away. So it's a perfect time to catch up about insurance and the Mustangs. So we're going to jump right in here in just a moment to our interview with SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King. Kevin Jennings obviously returns to the quarterback job for SMU after a stellar campaign, not the finish he wanted by any means, but he's locked in. He was at the Manning Passing Academy this past week. He got to spend some time with a good friend of mine, John Gruden, as well as, of course, the Mannings, and was there being a camp counselor for some of these high school prospects that get to spend some time there in Thibodaux. It's a great event. It's just solely around work and the quarterback position, and obviously catching the football as well. But a really fun time, a cool experience for Kevin. I assume if he is back for SMU in 2026, if he doesn't end up going pro or something like that, he'll be back there again as a counselor with, I think, probably more fanfare around him. He got the shout out from John Gruden, but this is a guy that, with the way he plays, now that he is the starter for SMU and going into the season as a starter, he's somebody that, you look long-term, man, kind of similar to, I guess, not similar, but, you look at Cade Klubnik. He came onto the scene at Clemson. He played a good bit early in his career. It didn't go the way he wanted it to. Kind of different than Kevin. Kevin had that instant success, in a sense, at the ACC level. And then he comes back and he turns it on in year 2. And, Cade is now coming back for that third year. That could be what next year looks like for Kevin Jennings in 2026, in a sense. So it's really cool to see SMU have a quarterback like this on a national stage, just from my perspective. We've seen a Shane Buechele, we've seen a Garrett Gilbert, we've seen J.J. McDermott, Kyle Padron. I'm sure I'm forgetting guys. Ben Hicks and Tanner Mordecai have all come through and had various levels of success. But you're looking at the first time where I think SMU has that, obviously a little bit of dark horse Heisman Trophy buzz around him, but you have somebody who really could ascend to stardom on the national stage. So we get into that with D'Eriq. We also talk, of course, about Tyler Van Dyke, Ty Hawkins, and just the quarterback room as a whole, and how, he's grown a little bit as a quarterbacks coach as well. So really looking forward to this one and sharing it with you guys. We've got a couple more interviews left as well before that'll kind of get us through the second week of July. And then we're 1 week away from ACC Media Days. We'll have some, kind of recruiting news, I think, later this month. So keep it locked at ontheponyexpress.com for more on that. But do want to get you guys over to this interview with SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King. Make sure you check out our friend's status at friend StatusJet at statusjet.com. Reach out to David Henry and his team at StatusJet today. They can get you lined up for the trip of a lifetime, no matter which SMU football, basketball game it is, or a family vacation. They can get you handled with a discount trip. And look, it is becoming more and more available and possible to fly on a private jet. So this is the time to make it happen if you can, and enjoy the trip of a lifetime. That's all I can say. And make sure you mention On the Pony Express and get a discount on a round trip flight with our friends at StatusJet. All right, without any further ado, we go to this interview with SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King, presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. Welcome back to the On the Pony Express podcast. Really excited to be joined by SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King. What's going on, man? You settled in now, year 2 of the position.
Yes.
Everything's going great.
Feel good about it. So it's been a good summer. So looking forward to the season.
What is the summer like for you guys right now? I mean, it's ever-changing world. One thing has kind of remained the same. Right now it's about that summer work with your guys and Coach Grizz.
Yeah, for the players, it's all workouts, runs. We have OTAs, so we get like a little 12-period practice in a couple of days a week. And then for us, it's practice, getting ready for the season, but also recruiting. So we're doing official visits some of those weekends and trying to close out the 26 class. So it's been a grind, but it's a good month. It's been good so far.
With the quarterback position being one of those key leadership positions, how do you get your group to take ownership of the team in their various different ways that they can?
Yeah, I think for one, I think the quarterback you have to have complete ownership of the offense, right? For one, and then you got to be the leader of the team. I think a lot of the growth is going to be in July when we're on vacation and the guys are here doing like player-led practice and all that. So it's a really good opportunity for Kevin and Ty, TVD, Charlie to step up and kind of be the leader of the team, while the coaches are gone. So.
How have you seen Kevin grow into this role? Because last year, obviously, was going into the summer. He had been around. He had gotten some key experience. You knew maybe what you thought you had with him a little bit, but now this is his team.
Yep. It's been great. The growth that he's made from January to now has been tremendous, right? Like I said, I think he has complete ownership of the team. He knows exactly what he likes on offense, so we can kind of have those conversations like, hey, what do you like? And he's completely honest with us, so that's been good. And I think his leadership role, last year being a backup quarterback going into the season and kind of taking over. But this offseason from January to now, he's kind of had a lot of growth in that area, just being the leader, being the dude, being able to talk up when you need to, and kind of get the team going in the right direction. So I think he's been great this summer. I was going to say he's grown from being pretty quiet with us, but I know behind the scenes he's a little goofy too. So how's that coming out in his personality with the team a little bit more? It's coming out a lot.
Okay.
When you become the starting quarterback, you just you feel more comfortable in every aspect of team meetings, practice, everything. And Kevin he has a really good personality, right? And he's showing it. And I think the team takes his personality on. So he's very serious when it comes to football, and he's locked in. The team's locked in. When it's time to chill, hang out with the guys, he can do that as well. So he's been doing a really good job of that.
You guys have had time to self-scout, look back, and do all those things that the offseason allows you to. What would you describe Kevin's journey last season and overall play as, just as a kind of a whole?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of growth, right? From if you watch the BYU game, up until the Clemson game, like you can see every single week he was getting better and better and better. But being a first-year starting quarterback, it's a lot of ups and downs, right? So he had those couple games in the middle of the season, the end of the season, where you can take it and learn from it. And Kevin's that type of dude that he won't let that happen again. He's been really really hard on himself this offseason to make sure he can do everything everything possible to be great in those situations. So a lot of ups and downs, but I thought he played really well last year, being a guy that jumped in there, and he did a really good job.
He's so dynamic, and sometimes it's gotten him just in a bit of trouble here and there, but how do you keep all of the great things and, just kind of some of the plays that he could take people's breath away with, there while shepherding that growth in the decision-making department?
Yeah, I think that's what makes Kevin special, right? I know here, if you're a quarterback that you play SMU, we never want to put you in the box, right? So we want you to use your God-given ability to be dynamic and make those special plays, but also, right, make the smart play, right? Kevin, he's so talented. He can make every throw, every arm angle. So sometimes they can come back and bite you in the butt, right? So he's got to make good decisions. That's it. And I think for the most part of last year he did. And obviously we had those couple games where we made a couple bad decisions. But I think in that area, those games last year will help him this year a lot. So I think he'll be a lot better this year in that.
What's his kind of, not schedule, but training, everything this offseason? I mean, one, being the guy, two, with everything kind of at his disposal now to take those extra training sessions or do this or do that. The quarterback world is just so kind of in depth with those training sessions and things like that. What's his kind of off season like, I guess, in that regard?
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing that he can do this offseason is be with his teammates, right? So being downstairs with Grizz, lifting and running, those throwing sessions on their own when they're out there running routes, doing stuff that we actually gonna do during the season. And then also, he's worked with a few quarterback trainers out here that's working on fundamentals. He has the Mannys camp coming up this upcoming week. So he's been doing a lot, but the most important thing, and always will be, is being with his teammates and getting that chemistry right.
Let's talk about the rest of your room. It's a pretty exciting bunch. I mean, you've got a guy that you know very well, Tyler Van Dyke, coming in. How is he doing overall, just in his progress, recovery-wise, and then just how cool is it to be back with him?
Yeah, he's doing great. He's been a joy to have in the room since January. He helps Ty a lot. Like, he's a guy that's played a bunch of college football. He's a veteran guy, so if I'm up there coaching it and teaching it, and Ty might have a question on the side, he can go to TBD and ask him, and TBD can, he experienced it. He's done it already. So I think in that aspect, he's been great. He's a really good add to the room. It's a value add for us, and he also helps Kevin. Like, they talk through different situations and different reads and coverages and all that. So it's been great to have him, and he's doing fine. His recovery process is going great, and hopefully he'll be ready to go this season.
The On the Pony Express podcast is presented by the Thomas Auto Group. Make sure you guys head up 75 to McKinney. Visit Brandon Thomas's 4 dealerships, Ford, Subaru, Volkswagen, and Mitsubishi. Again, they take great care of me and all of the people I've pointed their way already. They've got a great collision center, service center that can get your car back up and running on the road. They service all makes and models in their collision center as well, so that's worth noting. And of course, they can hook you up, whether it be pre-owned or new vehicles. They can get you into the right vehicle and make sure that it is the right decision for you and your family. And when you go through the Thomas Auto Group, mention On the Pony Express and get employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles. So with Ty, kind of similar to Kevin, we got a glimpse of it in the spring, some of that dynamic playmaking, that arm talent. I mean, just early returns on what you've seen from him since he's been here.
I mean, Ty came here and he had a really good spring. Like, it was super impressive for a freshman to come in here and kind of take ownership. Learning the offense and going out there having to do it is completely different. It's easy to go in the meeting room and do it on the board and, hey, you're good on the reads, right? But when you actually got to go out there and do it, he did a great job. So we were super impressed with Ty this spring. He's going to have a chance to be really good if he keeps working.
How much does it help going against a defense like you guys face, pretty much every day?
Yeah, it helps a lot. We get everything under the sun with Coach Simons over there. So it helps us a lot. It gets us ready for the season.
And with your group overall, what are you looking to see, just as fall camp approaches? Because we won't talk to you until then. Yeah. What are your key goals for that group overall?
Yeah, I think we talked as a group when we came back for summer. It was be a tone setter, right? We want to set the tone of the team. We want to set the tone of the offense. I want those guys to have complete ownership and complete control of the group, and I think so far we're on the right track to do that when we start fall camp. So, and then fall camp comes, just cut it loose, play football. Let's go have fun. It's the season. We do all this hard work for 6, 7, 8 months to go play 12 games, right? So that's the time to have fun. So I think they'll be ready to go.
This group that returns from last year's team, how important was it to go through what they went through, the championship preparation, the college football playoff, up and down, all of those things? How much can that really kind of foster that not only that drive to get back there, but put together some different results at the same time too?
It's super important, right? We always say here, like, last year was great, we had a good year, but we want to take it to the next step. I think the reason the 2024 team was so good because we had so much experience from the 2023 team, right? Going to the championship, winning the championship game, and we had all those guys coming back for this previous team. So you can't count. It's so big for us to have a lot of guys coming back on that team, and the experience just playing the AC championship game, going to the playoffs, playing 8 conference games and winning all of them. You can't take that into account what it's going to do for us this year. So it's going to be a big deal for us, and I'm excited to watch those guys play again.
Kevin, in year two, how does the offense change? I mean, just not only from personnel, you don't have a Brashard Smith, a couple other pieces out the door, but it seems like the offensive line has a chance to be really good. You've got some options at running back that look the part, different pieces coming back in the passing game too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. We have a chance to be really good. I'll say that we have a chance to be really good. I think a lot of that depends on what we do in July and August. But up front, man, if spring was anything for us, the O-line was really good. The guys that we added and the guys we got coming back, man, I think they meshed really well in the spring. They kept them clean a lot. So I think that's going to be a positive for us this year. Obviously, running backs, we got running back by committee. We had Brashard last year and LJ and guys like that, but I think we got 3 or 4 guys that can be special. And then you got 2 really good outside receivers, 2 dudes out there. They can make plays one-on-one, and then obviously Kevin coming back, man. We got a chance to be really good. Again, a lot of it's going to come into account with July and August and trying to get that chemistry, but I feel good. As far as the offense with Kevin, we're going to do things that he's really good at, right? Things that he likes. Just give him options and let him go make plays.
Switching gears for just a brief moment here, you guys have had a lot of buzz on the recruiting trail. Best class of program history last year, this year currently in the top 25. Things are going really well. How does it elevate from there? And what is the landscape like in this day and age of recruiting? And for a guy who, not too far removed from it.
And recruiting
it changed a lot from back then. Yeah.
Recruiting is totally different from 5 years ago when I was going through it 5-6 years ago. But it's great. I think we got a lot of momentum in our program. The last 2 years, obviously, we went to 22 games in 2 years. Now when we're on the road and we got SMU stuff on, it's a little easier to recruit and talk to coaches, talk to guys that we're recruiting. And I think the 25 class is super important to us. Like you said, it's not the best class in program history, and then I think this 26 class has a chance to be special as well. Waiting on a few more guys to come on, but I think it's been good so far. I think recruiting has changed a lot, but it's still the same stuff. It's still relationships. Do you have a family atmosphere? Do they have a chance to be successful here? And I think obviously SMU can do all that for them. And I think the building, the people in the building make the building, not the building, right? So we got really good people, starting from my head coach all the way down. I think Coach last year did a really good job of putting good people around each other. And I think when recruits come on campus, come on official visits, they see that, right? And that's been a buzz. So keep being who we are, and we'll see what happens.
Cool.
Shout out to our friends at Mannys Techmex. Mannys Techmex is the place to be, whether it's happy hour, lunch, dinner, they even do brunch. Make sure you head over to Mannys Techmex and say those magic words, queso, queso, when you talk with your server. That gets you 10% off your food in restaurant or takeout. So you have to order through Mannys for that discount, but say queso, queso, and just let them know, hey, I'm supposed to get my 10% off the food. They'll log it. You'll get the 10% off. You'll leave happy. You'll leave full. And you'll leave following a great experience at any of their 4 locations across DFW. Shout out to Mannys Techmex, which celebrated 20 years last month as well. So Mannys continuing to do it at a high level, and we appreciate all their support of the On the Pony Express podcast.
Cool. Last question for you. How do you change, from year 1 to year 2? Is there anything that sticks in the back of your mind, like, okay, I wish I would have done this, or I do this really well, I'm gonna gotta do more of that?
Yeah.
Both coaching, recruiting, whatever.
I think for me, I'm learning every day still. I know last year, kind of my first year being a position coach, from recruiting, I think I kind of got a good grasp on it, like how I want to talk to the guys, how do I, sell SMU, how do I sell the offense, just all that. I just learned every day from that. And then coaching-wise, it's just, I'm blessed to be around really good coaches, right? And I'm the type of guy, if I don't know, I'm asking a question, right? So if I don't think I'm doing this the right way, I'll go ask Coach Lashley or ask Coach Woods or ask Coach Likens. And I'm blessed to be in an environment where I can go do that. A lot of places you can't do that, right? So I'm learning every day. I think it's a little, different little things that I can do to get better, to reach the guys better. But I think this spring, it was a testament that I feel more comfortable now. Just being here year 1, going to year 2. I feel a little bit more comfortable, but also still learning. So, got to get better every day.
Very cool. Well, you've got one of the best quarterbacks in college football coming back next year, so it's exciting stuff for SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King joining us on the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you.
All right,
my guy.
All right, hope you guys enjoyed that interview with SMU quarterbacks coach D'Eriq King. This has been an interview-only edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. We appreciate our friends at AKM Turf and Greens for sponsoring the podcast. Get $500 off by mentioning On the Pony Express to them, or mention me, or mention, that SMU podcast. You guys have a deal with AKM turfandgreens.com. They've now expanded into Arkansas as well. So the brand is growing, the crew is going up and up. So make sure you reach out to them, whether you're in DFW, they could do Texas, they can work up into Oklahoma, but they did just expand into Arkansas as well. So I know we've got some listeners out there. So take a look at them, akmturfandgreens.com. Revamp your backyard today. And hey, what better way to celebrate next 4th of July than in your still relatively new backyard done up by AKM Turf and Greens. So hope you guys enjoyed this edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. We'll catch you next week. Hope everybody has a safe, happy, and celebratory 4th of July. And we'll catch you next week on another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone, and catch you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.